Gary, thank you so much for swinging by and participating in our little podcast sessions.
Thank you.
Super excited to chat with you today about a lot of things. But first and foremost, would love you to just introduce to our audience who you are and a little bit about what you do. And then we'll talk about the Expo and all that good stuff.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. Yesterday was great. Had a lot of amazing conversations.
Good.
I had a speaking session. So I have a full-service digital marketing agency.
Fantastic.
And my approach is more like a business consultant. That's my background.
Love it.
I have a background in IT. I actually studied film, so I got a film degree at University of Texas.
Okay.
This is my third career. I worked at IBM for about 20 years as a product manager, so working with marketing and sales in the enterprise space, and got to travel all over the world and meet different kinds of customers in all different industries.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing today is I have a digital marketing agency, and we're really leaning into AI.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that we do is AI enabled and helps me do my job. And then we also have an AI consultancy. So focused around education and training, as well as coming in and solving your problems using AI or automation. And because we're agnostic, we're not vendor specific, we are doing what's best for the customer. We're looking at what is the outcome that you're trying to achieve, and then assessing the tools that are available and telling you, here's the best tools, here's the ROI that you can expect, or here's something that needs to be custom built.
That's fantastic. I have so many questions.
Sure.
We are going to come back to all of that because you just said like 7 things that I want to probe into.
Excellent.
Tell me a little bit about what you spoke about at the Expo and sort of what your big takeaway for folks was.
Yeah, so I had a very general session about ChatGPT and AI for small business owners.
Okay.
And so it is a little bit of a learning and an educational type of session, starting with why do you need to care about AI? What is AI? How you can use it in your business? But what I really also focus on is that if you're not using AI, your employees probably are.
Good point.
If you do not have an internal usage policy on what is permissible for your organization, then you're probably exposing yourself to risk. And so I have a free template in my session as a starting point.
Awesome.
So you just have to be careful. You don't want to put PII in there, and you don't know what people are putting, if they're using their personal ChatGPT accounts, if they're putting customer information, if they're putting company information in there that's proprietary that could then be used by your competitors against you. So even if you're not using it, you've got to make sure that the people around you who are understand the guardrails on how to use it correctly.
Yeah. I love that foundation setting approach that you seem to be taking, because especially in small business, I do think there's this big sense of overwhelm because they don't have the same kind of resources. They don't have the same kind of access. There's probably a lot of confusion, a lot of fear.
Yes. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is do a little bit of education and then explain some things. And then the other thing is tell them about our approach. And we start with education. We talk about why things fail, why projects fail. And we really focus on training and upskilling, and then customer management and end user management and change management, to make sure that whatever you implement is then successful.
Yeah, it's a whole ecosystem of approach. It's not like you go out and you pay $29.99 for a tool and boom, it's all...
Everyone uses it and it's great and everyone understands it and they use it properly.
Yeah, it's such a great model. You said something earlier that I wanted to revisit and see if you could help unpack a little bit, because we hear it a lot. I mean, AI it's an elephant in the room and it's the buzzword and everybody's talking about it and everybody's trying to do it. You mentioned AI enabled.
Yep.
And then yesterday I heard AI first, and there's all of these sort of AI fill in the blank. What do you think small businesses should really be thinking about when they hear those terms? What does it mean when they say first, enabled,
That's a great question, and that's part of what we do is we come in and help people. We're like the Sherpas. You come to this conference, everything is AI.
Right.
And that doesn't mean it's good or bad, but what we do is we kind of break through the hype, and we'll tell you what is going to help you and what is not going to help you. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what it's called. Is it a solution that's right for your business? And so that's kind of what we're doing. So, but for me, what AI enable means is we're using AI ourselves in the agency to do our daily tasks. So I use AI in multiple forms and during the day. For example, I think of it as an expert sales coach in my pocket. So I use a tool called Read AI, which is a meeting recording tool. And that way I can really pay attention to the customer and I don't have to take notes. And I also have a transcript afterwards of the call.
Yeah.
And I'll take the transcript and I'll put it in ChatGPT and say, you are the world's best sales coach. I just had a call with this customer. Here is the industry that they're in. Here's what we were talking about. Give me an evaluation. Tell me what I did very well. Tell me what I did wrong. Tell me how I can improve and give me actionable steps to move this deal forward. And then I've done this over time. And then I can say, hey, look, over the last 3 months, what are some blind spots that I have that I'm missing going into these calls that if I work on, I can up my game? Because you've got all these transcripts over time. So it'll give me details. And one of the things that it told me was, hey, empathy, you're very technical. You jump into the technical, but like talk to the customer about the pain, go through that pain funnel, identify the pain, and then make sure that you help them understand how you can solve that pain as well.
Yeah.
So, and that was really insightful to have. I'm like, wow, I never would have known that if I didn't have a coach looking at my transcripts and telling me that feedback. So now I have notes going in my calls saying like, find the pain, you know, so I can go in. So I have my blind spots identified and I can work on those as well.
That's awesome.
And then it helps me with outputs as well. So, so then I take the transcript from that first discovery call and I have a format for the next call. And I say, here's what the topics, here's the, you know, the agenda for the deck, build the deck for the next meeting based on this call where I've asked the questions, what are your pain points? What are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? And then I just put that in the next meeting. Here were your pain points. Here were your goals. Are these correct? Did I miss anything? And so it just helps me with that process and speed up that process.
Yeah. I love what you were saying about it being, it's essentially your supportive agent, right? It is there to
100%.
make sure that all of the wonderful things you're doing are at their peak.
It's a delegation.
Yeah.
It's to supplement what I'm doing and help me improve and do it quicker and more efficiently and save that time so I can focus on doing it. And the other thing that we say is embrace human. You've got to be the human in the loop as well. You can't just take the output and put it out there. So, you know, it's 80% there, but you take it and then you make it your own. But that 80% is so huge that saves you hours or however much time that can get you to that point. And then you customize it for that customer, for that task, or for whatever you're doing.
Yeah. I work with a lot of small businesses that they have that misconception that this is not intended to remove your human resources.
Yes.
This is intended to supplement and support so that they can continue to be their best and focused, frankly, in the things that they are really, really good at.
Yes.
Where they're maybe wasting time on things that they now can offload elsewhere.
And I think the easiest way to think about that is Microsoft put a study about the enterprise of the future. And if you think about an enterprise organization where you have a director and then you've got reports, and what do? He's delegating tasks to his reports so they can go and do it. They flow the information back. He makes the decisions that he can go to the board or whoever and come with the right data so that he can go and present that. So what you're going to be doing is delegating those type of tasks to agents, to AI agents. They'll be your workers. So you'll be a director or a manager of a team, but instead of humans, it will be agents who are maybe answering email or booking your calendar or qualifying leads or, you know, whatever your repetitive tasks are so that you can focus on what is the quality that you bring to your customer? What is the value that you bring to your customer? Creating new offerings based on the feedback that you're getting, giving them the value, giving them the one-on-one that they deserve. So, yeah.
Yeah. You talked about the education piece that's so important, and we're all learning all at the same time right now as we go.
Oh, yeah.
Once you get to sort of that critical, at least tip of the spear education piece completed, how do you go through that process of sort of helping organizations identify the problem, right? They've expressed their pain, but then it's like, what do you do next to decide how to approach the problem?
That's a great question. So we have a methodology that we use. And so the first thing that we do on the trainings, we'll do a baseline, then we'll train them. And then, so we want to make sure that we understand where they're at. So then we can set the goals of where we want them to be.
Yeah.
So it's customized. And then what we'll do is say, what are your biggest pain points? And say, what is a repetitive tasks that are taking you a lot of time? Is it something that's in operations? Is it something that's in marketing? Is it something in sales? And then what we'll do is we will literally take that task and break it down step by step on a Miro board where we're literally documenting each step. And then we'll go back and evaluate that and say, all right, which of these steps can be automated, which are repetitive, which have an outcome that is always, if X plus Y equals Z every time, we can do that. It's predictive, it's creating content. What are the things that we can automate? And then is there something off the shelf that we can use that exists? Or is this a custom solution? And then based on that, we would then make a recommendation. And then the customer can then make a decision based on that. And we would tell them, this is what we would estimate your ROI if you implemented this solution, because right now it takes you this long to do this. If you do this and we automate that, we compress that timeline to this, X that times X many employees. This is the salary you're paying them. This is your ROI for that solution.
Yeah.
And then they can make a decision. Does it make sense to automate it or have an AI solution? Because a lot of times there's confusion over automation and AI.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing that I hear a lot is sort of this word soup, right? And creates confusion.
Yes.
And creates friction and makes it really difficult when you're trying to actually make progress.
Yes. And AI can be added to automation, right?
100%.
So it's kind of, but they are separate entities.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is, I think I love the ethos that you have around the educating first to really pick out, here's what we're really talking about and the clarity.
And what we find is that helps make the solution stickier.
Yeah.
Because then people feel empowered to then use the solution rather than being told, go use this tool without understanding what is the value, how do I use it, how does it fit into my routine, how does it help me save time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an interesting. I love the human AI partnership and collaboration. I think that's only going to continue to become more important. I heard a fascinating conversation about the digital doppelgangers and where your professional resume is now going to include, what are you bringing with you that you've crafted that's based on your expertise and your knowledge and your years of experience doing something. And so I'm really fascinated to see where that goes, where you start to get asked, well, what are you, who are you bringing with you to support the work we're doing?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. And I think the other thing that we do that we want to do is we establish an AI council in the organization. Mm-hmm. So, because it starts at the top. If you want your employees to adopt this, the leadership has to embrace it as well.
Absolutely.
And because this is changing, this is not, we come in once and set it and forget it. This is a living thing that is happening so quickly. They need to have people in the organization whose eyes are on that and then are thinking about that. And then they can set both the internal AI policies and then they can communicate externally to their customers. This is how we're embracing AI. Mm-hmm. This is what we're doing with your data with AI, so that they can clarify both their internal and external AI visions and strategies to their employees and to their customers as well. Yeah.
And that's a great point you were talking about earlier around if you as an organization aren't using it, your employees probably are. And that can create all kinds of chaos if it's not managed correctly. And I think that's a really interesting thing. I'm trying to remember, I want to say it was from a report that the Marketing AI Institute did, and they said something like 65% or something of marketing employees expressed that they weren't getting in-house training, they weren't being given access, it was like, we all want to do it, but we're not being shown the path.
Right.
And so
that shows that they want it, but they just need the organization to make that clear to them.
Yeah.
Because if they don't have that, they're going to fill that gap on their own, and they're going to do things to help themselves that may not be right for the organization, but they feel in the moment will be helpful to them.
Yeah.
That's to do things quicker or faster, which is fine as long as they're following the rules that you've and parameters that you've set for them, the guardrails.
Yeah, I think that's a really forward-thinking approach for a lot of small businesses too,
Yes.
and not just small businesses, but in B2B as well, because I feel like we historically, at least in this industry space, we move slower. We've got so much bureaucracy in our way, and right now those are going to crush. That speed element is really going to be a big problem when we're so busy negotiating compliance and legal and all of those hoops that have their importance.
Yeah.
Not saying they don't matter, but we have, from a B2B perspective, those businesses that can be forward thinking with the council and with a policy to even just raise their hand and say, we're having the conversation.
And the other thing that this does is that when you're trying to hire and attract talent, that message goes to that talent that you're forward thinking as well.
Absolutely.
Because you have to think about that. You're trying to attract the best talent as a business owner, and you want to retain that talent as well. And so you want to make sure that they see that you're forward thinking, because if you don't, they'll go to a competitor who is using AI, and that if they want to use AI, they'll go in to that competitor who is, where they feel like they can advance their career. So that's another kind of side benefit to doing that as well, as you're now presenting your organization to potential employees as an AI forward-thinking organization, which is attractive to them as well.
Yeah, 100%. I just thank you so much for sharing your approach and your framework. I think it's the right way to do it from the seat that I'm in, especially in what I hear with clients and in the B2B space. I think you've nailed it. And I would
so much. I'll leave you with one last nugget. So this is the one thing that I'm kind of explaining to businesses as well, is I think the opportunity with AI, I think people are looking at how do we save money from an operational perspective. The reverse side of that, to kind of switch your mindset, is how can I create products based on the data that I have, knowing my customers, knowing their habits, knowing their preferences, knowing their pain points. How can I take that and create offerings catered towards them, which is now increasing my bottom line because I'm bringing in more revenue rather than just saving revenue on operations. So as a business owner, you want to be thinking both sides of that coin. How do I save money with AI from an operational perspective? But how can I get new streams of revenue? Because now I have all this data about my customers that I can either upsell, add new features, add new functions, or brand new offerings to the market based on the knowledge that I have about my customers, their pain points, how they like to buy things, how they, what they're willing to spend, price. All of this you now know as a business owner, and you can use AI to give you insights on your customers and help them solve their problems.
Yeah, that's that's the mic drop moment.
Yeah, that was the last golden nugget right there.
So great. Oh my gosh. We're going to have to do this again because I want
100%.
to ask more questions.
Well, you know where to find me.
Thank you so much.